Hi, this is Matt at Brantley Guitars, and today I'm finalizing the nut for my Brantley Classic. In the last video I had the nut had been shaped, and I set the spacing for the strings. You can see that I've taken the E strings 1/8 of an inch from the outside of the neck, and I've cut some small string slots in it with a very fine .012 file, just to give them a little something to grab onto here so they don't slide off the neck. And I've strung up the guitar and tuned it to pitch, and now it's time to cut these slots so they're the proper distance, because you can see, I mean, they're pretty high right now, and I've got to bend them down pretty far to meet the first fret. So we want them to just clear the first fret. So the first tool that we're going to need here is the excuse me. I've taken a set of calipers. Let me see if I can get a good shot of this. And on the end, if you take a round file and you just file away part of the end, it gives it some clearance so that when this slider comes out, you don't want to file the slider in the middle, just file the housing. So that way we can use that as a depth gauge for our fret slots. So if I take it and I push the slider all the way down to the table and I zero it, I've now zeroed the point where the slider and the end of the calipers are equal. There, if I pull my string off of the nut where I had it placed, and where that string was, I placed this caliper. This is now showing .048. So I'll repeat this a couple times. I'll zero it each time. Take about 3 measurements. Take the average. So .050. .048. That's a couple of those that I managed to record. Let me see one more here. .049. So we'll go ahead and use .049 as the measurement there. And what we want to do is add about 5 to 10 thousandths to that number. So if we measured .049, I'm going to want to grab a set of feeler gauges and find a combination of feeler gauges, because these only go up to .025. So if I take my .025 and 0.24, that gives me .029, which is the height of the fret. But I want to go over that by about 10 thousandths. So I'm going to dig way in the bottom here. Let me grab my 10. I'm going to use these feeler gauges in order to set the height of my nut slot. So I slide these under the strings, and I'm kind of using this bass string here to help hold it down on this side of the neck. And I'm going to take my large file, my .042, and I'm going to start increasing the depth of this slot. Like I said before, I had a .012 slot that had already been filed in here to just hold the string, but I'm going to use this larger file. And as I said before, we want the strings to break down over the nut. I have these graduated height tuners on this guitar, so it does help pull those strings down, but we want the string to break over the nut. So I will always tilt my file down toward the headstock so that I'm angling back and down, and all I want to do is just file until my file makes contact with the feeler gauges. And you'll feel it and you'll hear it when it happens. Now if your strings are slightly larger than the set of files that you might have, you can rock the files from side to side as you're filing your slots. But really you want to try to find a set of files that matches the gauge of strings that you're using. That way your string has a good fit in the nut slot. It's not going to wobble around, it's not going to vibrate, and you won't get any strange noises from your nut. So let me check to make sure. So this slot might be a little small. I'm checking this against the line that I've drawn, and I guess I'm questioning whether my line is right or my feeler gauges are right. So I'll continue to file this, and once I get it set, we'll be ready to go. Okay, I can just feel the file making contact now with the feeler gauge, yep. And so that means my depth should be right. So I'll put my string in there. I'm playing it kind of aggressively to try to get some buzz, and you can see I've really got to pull on that string in order to get some buzz. I'm playing it normal. I think it'll sound pretty good. Of course, we can still make some adjustments on the bridge end, but that's the low E string. That one's set up, and I'll just continue this process now across the nut until I have all 6 strings properly seated at the right depth. From there, if I have any problems, I can go and make some changes. Like I said, you want the height of the strings at the nut to be 5 to 10 thousandths higher than the fret height. I usually start at 10. That way, if I do need to go a little lower, I can. If you start too low and you have to raise it, now you have to add actual bone dust, or in this case antler dust, into the slot. Add a little cyanoacrylate glue in there to harden that, and then recut the nut. That's not a good process, so it's better to start high and work low. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.